Hi everyone, my name is Penny Hauk and welcome to the Superfood channel. Today we're going to be making spinach pie with flax seeds, and flax seeds is a superfood. And one of the reasons why I'm going to be using it in the spinach pie is because it's acting as an egg replacer. And one of the benefits of flax seeds is that it's high in protein and fiber. It has essential fatty acids, which include omega-3, 6, and 9. And I include it in a lot of my baking and cooking every single day. And so today we're going to show you how to include it in our spinach pie. So I have all my ingredients out today. We are going to begin with spinach, we have dill, we have mint, we have scallions. I have a vegan butter that I'm using, and I've already soaked the flaxseed with milk so that it's already created a little bit of a, I don't know, like a binder, I guess is what I'm going to call it. So we're going to get started, and what we're going to do is we're going to combine cottage cheese, which I have here, and with the cottage cheese I'm going to add the flaxseed, and then I'm going to take a nice big chunk of feta cheese and I'm going to crumble it up in the bowl that I have here. And I love playing with, well, I'm not playing, but touching my food here and mixing it up. So I encourage you to really get comfortable with blending and using your hands because you can always wash your hands, which is what I'm going to do next because I need to begin to chop the spinach. So now that we've created our cottage cheese and feta cheese and flaxseed mixture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start chopping up the greens that are going to be part of the filling for the spinach pie. And what I have here are 2 bunches of scallions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop them up into small pieces, as you can see here, and I'm going to add them into the cottage cheese mixture. So scallions are delicious. They add a great flavor to just about anything. I use scallions so much. Every time I go shopping, I definitely buy enough scallions to just always have on hand because I add them to my salads. I add them to just a lot of different kinds of recipes that I have that you can find later on my website. So next I'm going to add some dill, and dill is another great herb that I add into my spinach pie. Depending on where you get your spinach pie and if you buy it frozen, which I never do, but there are different types of recipes for spinach pie. You can tell when spices like dill aren't used because the flavor of the spinach pie is not great, quite frankly. So you should be on the lookout for spinach pie that includes really great spices and herbs. Right now I'm going to add also a healthy serving of mint, and mint is also a great addition to the spinach pie. It just adds a lot of dimension and flavor, which is what you want, and it complements the feta cheese and the cottage cheese and the flax meal perfectly. So this is what I have so far. Okay, so I've got, as a recap, the cottage cheese, the flax meal, the feta cheese, and then I have dill, mint, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to blend it. Okay, and scallions. Sorry, I forgot the scallions. So when you blend it along like this, again, this is going to be the filling. What we're going to do next is we are going to add the spinach, which is the best part. Well, all of it's the best part, but the spinach is a really great part. So I buy one of these really big containers of spinach, and if you're a spinach lover, you know that spinach cooks down quite quickly, so you need a lot, and it might seem like a lot, but I wouldn't worry about it. Just add on the spinach because spinach is so good for you. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just literally add the entire container of spinach. And maybe I'll just leave some out for my salad. And what I'm going to do is, so here's the bowl. You basically want to take your spinach and combine it with the cottage cheese and feta cheese and herb mixture. Some people that I know who cook spinach pie frequently, they actually cook the spinach beforehand. And I don't do that. You can if you want to, but again, we know how spinach reduces and wilts pretty quickly when you cook it. So I like to keep it fresh like this because you're gonna cook it anyway, and there's no need to double the work. So I get, like I said, I like to get messy. And if you want to take a look at what this is supposed to look like, here it is. Okay, and that becomes our mixture, and it becomes our filling for the spinach pie. All right, so one additional spice that I add in here is pepper. So a little bit of black pepper, just to give it, again, a little more dimension and flavor. I do not add salt because the feta cheese is salty enough. And if you're watching your salt intake, there's no need to add salt. So, that's something to be aware of. Feta cheese provides a great deal of that salty flavor that you might be craving, but I don't add any additional salt to my spinach pie. Cut. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. We'll keep going. I'm not going to stop recording.
I'd have to wash my hands.
Wash your hands.
Okay. I could already tell what I'm going to do differently, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's all good.
Is it?
It's very good.
Okay. All right, so that's that. All right. Okay, I'm ready. So now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to assemble our spinach pie. And what I have here is phyllo dough. And phyllo dough you can buy in the frozen food section of most supermarkets. I like to keep it in the refrigerator, so they're usually found in the frozen food section. But what I do is if I know that I'm going to make it, what I do is I take it out and I put it in my refrigerator so it can thaw, and then in the morning I take it out and put it on my counter so it's easier to use. Phyllo dough is not very simple in terms of using it for cooking, so you have to be very careful. But it's okay to just experiment and play with it a little bit. As you can tell, it's very thin, it's paper thin. And what we like to do is we like to layer on the pieces so you can get that really nice effect. Some folks like to keep it covered so it doesn't dry up, which is what happens, but we're gonna move quickly here because that's how I like to cook. But I will put all these details in the show notes and also on my website as well. So what I have here is I have melted vegan butter, and I have a brush. And what I'll do is I'll take my pan that I'm going to use this, I'm going to make my spinach pie in, and I'm going to lather it up and paint it around, what you want to do is you just want to get the entire pan covered with the butter. And this will help with the cooking. And I didn't mention earlier, but I've already set up the oven. I've already heated it up. And I've heated it up at 350, so it's been going for a little while. So you want to definitely have that ready beforehand so that the oven's ready for you to put this in there. So what we're going to do is we just lather this up. And I'm going to start taking my phyllo dough, and I'm going to begin by maybe taking a couple pieces and starting to layer it into this pan. And again, you're going to have to play a little bit with this, but as you can tell, I'm going to begin with a couple of sheets, and you can see I'll take a sheet, and I know there are a lot of folks who use phyllo dough, and they have their own specific way of laying it out in a pan. And this is just my way. There's no right or wrong way, but this is my way. And what it does is it allows you to let pieces hang over the dish, because then you're going to want to start to begin to add your filling. And I'm going to add one more piece to this area over here, because you do want the base of the spinach pie to be solid, because guess what? This filling is going to go right in here, and you want to make sure that you have a good amount of phyllo dough underneath, because as it cooks, it's going to support the weight of the inside. So the other thing that I'm doing is I'm pushing down the phyllo dough, and that is so that it can begin to just stick to the pan a little bit and with the butter. Next, I'm going to take the butter, and I'm going to again paint a little bit of the butter on top of the phyllo dough, and this just helps with the moisture and the flavor, and just gives it a nice balance. Excuse me. So then I'm going to take my filling, okay, and I am going to start to layer it in here. And this is a pretty big tray of spinach pie. You can vary your tray. You can use a pie plate. It all depends on the amount of servings you want to offer, but I make a lot of this because it does go fast, and we just eat a lot of it. So it's just a favorite of our family, and it's something that you can have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in fact, you can even snack on it. You could have it as an appetizer. I know you know all this because I know that you've seen spinach pies out there in those frozen food sections of the supermarket. But this is going to help you make it at home, and my hope is that you give it a try and leave me your comments in the comments section of this channel, because I definitely want to know what you did a little differently, or how you modified this recipe. But one thing I do want to say is that if you can begin to use more superfoods in your day-to-day meals, you will be feeling great. And flaxseed, for me, I use flaxseed just about every day in all the things that I make. I buy the full seed, I grind it up, and I'm actually close to being out of flaxseed, but this is what it looks like when it's ground up. And, I just use my coffee grinder. I grind it up, I put it in smoothies, I put it in my cereal, I add it in all of our baking. I sneak it into stuff like this, and it's because it provides a lot of healthy benefits. It's a great source of fiber, and it has all the essential fatty acids that are good for you. So, and those essential fatty acids are omega-3, 6, and 9. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to begin to fold over the layers that were hanging on the side of the pan, and so you can see here, you just start to fold it over, and I could already start to feel this getting a little dry, so I am going to move a little quickly here. But again, there's no right or wrong way of using the phyllo dough in layering it in, so just try it and have fun with it. But it is, it's a little bit of a tricky ingredient to play with, but as you start to get more experience in using phyllo dough, you'll get a feel for what, how to use it, I guess. So I'm going to add a few more pieces to the top of this and tuck in the sides. I used to watch my grandmother when I was a little kid at, counter level, make her own phyllo dough. And, in hindsight, I wish I had remembered how she was able to do that. And I know there are a lot of yayas out there who make their own phyllo dough. I certainly don't know how to do that. So if any of you out there know anyone who does make their own phyllo dough, definitely let me know who they are. I'd be interested in learning more about how to do that. And I've also been on the lookout for a wheat-based phyllo dough. And I haven't been able to find that yet. So if you do find that, also let me know. So what I've done here, if you can see, is I've layered on the phyllo dough. I actually like to see some of the spinach and the filling. Some people like to layer on the phyllo dough, but I like to make it a little bit on the thinner side so that it's not overpowered with too much phyllo dough and not enough for the filling, because really the best part is the filling, I think. But I know that there are people who are going to disagree with me, and that's okay, because some folks like to just have a lot of extra phyllo dough, which is like a crust. So what I've done here is I've added, a good amount of the butter, and you got to make sure you go all the way around the pan and press it down so that you've got, it's not going to stick to the sides. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to poke some holes into the pita, and then I'm going to pour the rest of the vegan butter on there, because it's going to, seep through, and it's going to help make it really, really nice and moist. And that, in a nutshell, is spinach pie. I hope that you get a chance to go to my website and check out the ingredients and give it a try for yourselves. I will list out all of the ingredients that I've used today, and if there are other greens that you would like better or to supplement with spinach, that's welcome too. If it's kale that you want to add, or arugula or anything like that, that is absolutely an option here. Leeks is also another good alternative to scallions. But try your own ingredients and your own additions of flavors that you like. The staple items for sure are feta cheese and cottage cheese. I've used, but again, give it a try and let me know what you think. So don't forget to come back and visit us again on the Superfood channel, because we'll have more recipes like this.